they're working.
And they did this regression analysis on 23 trades,
Yeah.
statistical modeling.
Yeah, trying to see what factors predict success. What did they find?
Get this. The paper says the factors in their model explain almost 100% of the variability in the outcomes.
Ooh! Almost 100%. That's incredibly high for any kind of predictive model, especially in finance.
I thought so too. It suggests their system, at least for that set of trades, had a really strong handle on predicting performance. It raises its own questions, right, about market dynamics if algorithms get that good.
It absolutely does. But it brings us back to our theme, doesn't it? On the surface, a trade is just a transaction. Behind it, this incredibly complex, data-driven algorithmic system making decisions. Another hidden layer.
Just like the wiring behind the wall, or the code running a website, or all those cables on that desk.
Exactly. It's all systems within systems.
So let's try and tie this all together. We started with that image, right? The messy desk overflowing with tech.
The symbol of chaos, maybe.
Maybe. But as we looked at the live streaming setup, the power strip warnings, the incredibly detailed NFIRS codes, the sophisticated trading algorithms, we see complexity everywhere.
Layers upon layers of technology, protocols, potential risks, and data analysis, all underpinning things we might take for granted.
And the key thing, I think, is that even in that visual chaos of the desk, there are systems, maybe not neat ones, but systems nonetheless. The cables do connect things, the software does run, the power is flowing, somehow.
Functionality can emerge even from apparent disorder. The live stream works despite the glitches. The NFIRS creates order out of incident reports. The algorithms navigate financial chaos.
Right. So as we wrap up, think about that desk one more time. But maybe now, don't just see the clutter.
See the connections, the flow of data, the physical reality of these complex systems we've been talking about.
Exactly. And that leads to our final thought. What about all the other systems operating around us, largely unseen?
Like the internet's infrastructure, the power grid, logistics networks, all that hidden complexity that makes daily life possible.
Yeah. So the question to ponder is, what other places that look chaotic or messy might actually have their own intricate logic, their own hidden order, if we just looked a bit closer?
Maybe it's worth looking beyond the surface sometimes, thinking about the data, the structures, the systems holding things together, even if they look like they desperately need tidying up.
Okay, so this is it for now. Machine learning world-class dev experts. Tool power developer ML. Here we go, something. Copy and put it in my notes. Not much to write home about. Now let's try the beta version and see what we can do. Let's try the beta mode and see if it works. Play it back.
Okay, let's dive in. We're starting with quite a scene today. Picture this desk, just absolutely covered in tech. Kind of an organized chaos, maybe.
Organized might be generous. What are we seeing?
Well, there's a silver Dell laptop sort of peeking out, a black keyboard, multiple screens glowing, and cables. Just wow. Tangled black and yellow cables everywhere.
The classic tech spaghetti monster. I think we all know that look.
Totally. And it's not just cables. There's a Seagate expansion box, various electronic bits and pieces, and this tower of power supplies and routers, all daisy-chained together, piled high.
Okay, yeah, that last part sounds a bit precarious, but it's a great visual, isn't it? It really screams complexity.
It does. And honestly, that image, that beautiful disaster, it got us thinking about the complex systems running underneath all our tech, even when it looks like, oh, our listeners got something shared. Let's hear it.
Yes, this is for disaster recovery. Backup and recovery.
Yes, you're right. That image of the cluttered desk really does bring to mind disaster recovery scenarios.
Absolutely. When things go wrong, whether it's a tech meltdown or something bigger, having some kind of system in place is crucial.
And that's actually a perfect way to frame what we wanted to explore today. It might seem like we're jumping around with topics,
but the underlying thread is really about understanding complex systems, potential failures, and how we try to prepare for and recover from them.
So, thinking about disaster recovery in the
Okay, let's dive in. We're starting with quite a scene today. Picture this desk, just absolutely covered in tech. Kind of an organized chaos, maybe.
organized might be generous. What are we seeing?
Well, there's a silver dial laptop sort of peeking out, a black keyboard, multiple screens glowing, and cables. Just wow. Tangled black and yellow cables everywhere.
Ah, the classic tech spaghetti monster. I think we all know that look.
Totally. And it's not just cables. There's a Seagate expansion box, various electronic bits and pieces, and this tower of power supplies and routers, all daisy-chained together, piled high.
Okay, yeah, that last part sounds a bit precarious, but it's a great visual, isn't it? It really screams complexity.
It does. And honestly, that image, that beautiful disaster, it got us thinking about the complex systems running underneath all our tech, even when it looks like,
Oh, hey there, what's up?
This is about disaster recovery, backup, and recovery in near real time.
That's a fantastic point. You're absolutely right. When we look at that Missy desk, it's easy to think of potential disasters, isn't it? A power surge taking everything out, or a hard drive failing.
exactly. And that whole idea of complex systems we were just touching on, it directly relates to how we recover from those potential disasters and how we back things up.
What's fascinating here is that even in what looks like chaos, there are often attempts at redundancy, at having backups in place. That Seagate expansion box, for instance, could very well be someone's backup drive.
Okay, let's unpack this, because you totally hit on something key. That anxiety we feel looking at a tangled mess of tech. Part of that is the fear of losing data, of something failing, and not being able to recover.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, think about live broadcasting, which we were about to get into. For a seamless stream, there has to be near real-time recovery if something goes wrong.
Absolutely. And our next source, a transcript from Dizeron on YouTube about their live streaming IT setup, really highlights how vital a solid IT backbone and those recovery plans are.
Oh, absolutely. Viewers expect it to be seamless, don't they? No buffering, no glitches. But behind the scenes, there's a constant effort to prevent and recover from issues.
Exactly. And the transcript mentions a whole bunch of tools they use. Things like Webcam Max and even Steps Recorder. These tools, in their own way, contribute to stability and the ability to troubleshoot and recover.
Steps Recorder, interesting. It shows it's often a mix, right? Not just one big expensive software package, but different tools pieced together to ensure things keep running and can be fixed quickly if they don't.
For sure. And it wasn't all smooth sailing either in their experience. They talk about hitting error messages, having problems with playback. These are the moments where robust backup and recovery strategies become crucial.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. It's a good reminder that even polished streams have those frantic moments behind the curtain. Troubleshooting is a big part of it, and having backups of redundant systems is key to near real-time recovery.
Like untangling those cables on the desk, but digitally, and with the added pressure of a live audience. You need to know you have a way to get back up and running quickly.
Yeah, pretty much. Each connections, each piece of software is a potential snag, and a good IT setup for something live would have contingencies for those snags.
But here's where it got really interesting for me in that transcript, and it ties into your point about future tech. They mentioned this idea for a vanity phone number, but linked to AI. They floated 800 ChatGPT.
800 ChatGPT. Okay, that's catchy. What's the thinking there? Could AI also play a role in disaster recovery or providing information during an outage?
Well, the idea is to have an AI handle those initial contacts, answer basic questions, maybe filter inquiries, which in a disaster scenario could free up human responders for more critical tasks.
Ah, so using AI as a first point of contact. It makes sense. It's about accessibility too, maybe. Making AI useful for, say, small businesses who might not have dedicated IT support for recovery.
That's exactly what they touch on. Empowering people, the next generation, to use these tools. And get this, they even talk about AI potentially joining live audio conversations. Imagine it flagging critical information or recovery steps in real time during an incident.
Whoa, wait, like the AI is listening in and chiming in with helpful information or suggesting recovery protocols?
Kind of, yeah. Offering real-time insights, flagging details maybe. Imagine that during a live discussion about a system failure, the AI could be suggesting fixes based on past incidents.
That opens up a whole lot of possibilities for faster recovery and better information dissemination during a crisis.
The transcript suggests it learns continuously. It listens, absorbs the info being shared, and just keeps building its knowledge base, constantly refining its ability to assist in future situations.
So it's constantly refining itself based on the conversations it's part of. That's dynamic and could be incredibly valuable in improving recovery strategies over time.
Right. And the end goal seems to be reducing the need for humans on those very first, often repetitive inquiries, freeing people up for more complex stuff like actually fixing the disaster.
So this first source really shows the layers, doesn't it? The tech stack, the problems, and then this glimpse into AI integration, which could revolutionize how we approach disaster recovery in the future.
Okay, so from live streams and AI's potential role in recovery, let's pivot slightly but stay in the realm of potential disasters. Let's talk about those power strips, especially thinking back to that tower of power supplies on the desk and the risk of electrical failures.
Yes, please. Daisy chaining power strips is, well, it's generally not a great idea and can certainly lead to a disaster if circuits are overloaded.
Definitely. We have this other YouTube transcript from TMJ4 News called What to Never Plug into a Power Strip. The piece we have doesn't list the specific items, unfortunately, but it immediately brings electrical safety and the prevention of failures into focus. Oh yeah, go on.
It may refer to daisy chaining multiple power strip on a desktop, overloading the circuits.
That's a really insightful point. You're absolutely right to connect those visuals. Daisy chaining power strips on a desk, especially with a lot of equipment, is a prime example of how circuits can get overloaded.
What's fascinating here is how quickly a seemingly small thing, like plugging one power strip into another, can escalate into a potential hazard. It really highlights the limitations of these devices.
Okay, let's...
Hey, yeah, what's up?
Especially when you have hard drives, multiple phones, recharger, multiple iView video glasses, in addition to other hard drives, that leads to a fire power problem.
You've hit the nail right on the head. All those devices you mentioned draw power, and when they're all pulling from the same overloaded source, especially through daisy chain power trips, the risk of overheating and fire jumps dramatically.
It's a really concrete example of how that initial cluttered picture translates to a tangible safety concern. Each additional device increases